Hey everyone, Sebastian here, back again with another question from Bluebook Test 1, Math Module 2B, the harder one, right? Question 17. If you notice, I've switched up the layout here. I'm mixing it up. I'm trying new things. I'm learning how to make the best videos, just like you're learning how to do the best on the SAT. It's a great process. So we'll see how this goes. In the given system of equations, t is a constant. If the system has no solution, what is the value of t? Okay, great. So 4x minus 6y equals 10y plus 2, and ty equals 1 half plus 2x. Okay, so what it's telling us, right, is that it has no solution. So let's think about that graphically, right? If it's no solution, then what we're talking about really is we have some coordinate plane, right? We have one line, and then the other line is parallel and they never cross, right? So what does that mean for us in terms of the equation? So I'm going to rewrite the equations here. 4x minus 6y equals 10y plus 2. And then I have ty. I make my t's look like j's to keep them separate from the plus signs. Equals 1 half plus 2x. Okay. So what that means is they have the same slope. How do we get the same slope, right? That is when the two equations have the value on the x, right? The coefficient on the x and the coefficient on the y are proportional. So they're not the same equation. If they have the same equation, they'd have infinite points crossing, but they have the same slope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the x over and see what that gets us. So we're going to have 4x minus 6y. Well, actually, for this one, right, I'm going to move the 10y over. So I'm going to subtract 10y. So minus 10y minus 10y. So it's going to be 4x minus 16y equals 2. And then I'm going to subtract the 2x, and I'm going to get negative 2x plus ty equals a half. And I don't actually care about the 2.5. All that matters really is that they're not going to be the same value when I multiply this, right? They don't have the same proportions. Because if they had the same proportions as the other parts, then it would be equal to each other and they would be the same line. So what do I mean by proportions? Well, the proportion is how you multiply from one coefficient to get the other one. So we're going from 4 to negative 2. So that's going to be multiplying by negative 1 half. Okay? So why does that matter? Because if we multiply this by the same value to get t, then we'll have the same ratio between the negative 2 and the t. So that's going to be negative 16 times negative a half, which will give me positive 8. So t equals 8. Now, why does that work? Because if we look at the first one, right, and we look at the slopes, it's going to be negative of this, because we move it over, it becomes negative 4x, divided by negative 16. So the slope on the first one, right, is going to be, here I'm going to put it here, slope equals negative 4 over negative 16, which equals 1/4. And now on the other one, we're going to have negative 2 over 8, which also equals 1/4. Okay? So one way you could do this, right, is just to move things over from the beginning, find the slope of the first equation, and then solve for t to find the slope of the second equation, making it equal, right? But I just like to work on proportions, set them on the same side. So I'm dividing by negative 1 half to get from 4 to negative 2. So I'm going to divide by negative 16 or not dividing by negative 1 half, multiplying by negative a half, right? So I'm going to multiply negative 16 by negative a half, okay? And if you want to do it the slope way, the way you do that is you just find the slope of the first one and set the other one equal to that with t in it. So it's going to be like this, look. Okay, so I already did the slope there, but I'm going to redo it for anyone who has questions on that. If you understand this question, bye, sayonara. I'll see you all next time. But if you want to stick around for fun or to understand it better, then you'll see. So on the first one, right, we have 4x minus 16y. y equals 2. So I'm going to subtract 4x to find the slope. Subtract 4x. And I'm going to get negative 16y equals 2 minus 4x. And then divide by negative 16y equals 2 plus 4/16 x, which is just 1/4, right? So that becomes 1/4. And then I can set that equal to the other one, right? So it's going to be 1/4 equals equals 2/t. All right, if I look at this, right, to find the slope, I'm just going to divide by t, and then that makes t equal to 8, right? So it's the same thing. I like the proportion method where I'm just sort of thinking of how the equations relate to each other, but if you focus on the slope like this, and that makes more sense to you, do it that way. I hope that helped you all, and I will see you all next time. Remember, stay strong, stay happy, and have a good night.